Hey guys, in this video we're gonna go over the event when the alarm sounds, and we're gonna do so without Bloodtithe because it trivializes things just way too much. First of all, you're gonna have something called daily patrols, and you will gain rain emblems from clearing these daily patrols, and this would allow you to rent characters, the ones that you can see right here, like a Barina, Semmelweis, Lucy, Recoleta. That is completely irrelevant because you cannot rent these characters in the containment, and that is what you want to do. You want to completely skip the suppression stages, because once you cleared all of containment, the suppression stages will be cleared automatically, so you will hit like multiple birds with just one stone. You should still clear the daily patrols even though the rents are useless, because you gain the tickets for the mains vault, and you can see here that there's a gluttony available for you to buy and a crystal casket. So those are things that are must purchases. So yeah, I mean, just do these daily patrols so you gain currency for the mains vault. That's the whole point. Then you're gonna go to containment and you're gonna start doing these stages. Here, the most important part to know is that at the end of every single stage you will have to get rid of one character. Something to keep in mind. And you can choose a buff for the enemies that you can get rid of. You can see this here. Those are called local hazards. For this stage's example, we have two different buffs here. One says at the start of the round, all of our allies lose 15% of their current HP. This is something that you can get rid of. If you do not get rid of it, this buff, or debuff for that matter, will carry over to the next stage that you will face, and all of the buffs or debuffs that you do not get rid of, they will all be transferred to the final boss. So what you want to do is you want to always get rid of the, you can see this here, enemies max HP plus 25%. Every single one of those stages has a buff like this, and you want to always get rid of this buff so that in the end, when you face the boss, he has as less of max HP as possible, because he takes quite a punch even without these buffs. And if you now would buff him constantly with more and more plus 25% max HP, he will get really annoying. The order in which you clear these stages, that doesn't play any role anymore. Maybe you remember when the alarm sounds, this event here from the past, where the order in which you cleared these stages like really mattered, right? That is no longer the case. You can do this in any order that you would want to. So let's go over stage 1, the stage that I cleared first here, which is the upper left one. So let's go and jump into battle and see what it is actually all about, and what characters to take and what duty officer you would take. You can see this, that every single stage you conquer it with 5 instead of just 4 characters. So you're gonna play a team, your team, whatever you want to play, and then you have an additional character, and that is called the duty officer. He gets buffs. Like for this stage here, for example, the duty officer says when allies lose HP, you accumulate Bloodtithe at the start of the round, if at no less, you know, blah 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 blah, you get the point. Every single stage here has a different buff for the duty officer, so which character you put into the duty officer slot might matter, you know what I mean? But anyways, enough talk, let's go into battle for this stage number 1 here, and yeah, let me explain things a little bit further. The enemy, as you can see here, the enemies, they don't do anything. They grow bigger, they gain damage taken reduction, they grow more and more bulky. That's literally all they do. So you don't have to worry about any specific mechanic here or something. You just want to clear the stage at a reasonable time, but even that, like, you can take your time, you know what I mean? Anyways, you can see that they are from the Beast Afflators, so you want to bring characters or a main DPS that is from the Mineral Afflators, such as Jiu. You can use Recoleta just as I did. You can use Semmelweis. If you use Semmelweis, remember that the duty officer here gains a buff that fills the Bloodtithe even more. So you want to place, if you would use Semmelweis as your main DPS, which we don't, because yeah, I want to showcase this without using the Bloodtithe team, any of the characters for that matter. But if you would want to choose so, because you don't have Geo, you don't have Recoleta, right? Maybe you have Semmelweis. Then put her where I put Ulrich here, because that is the duty officer slot, so that she gains the additional bloods for her Bloodtithe. Alright. And that's literally all there is to it. If you play this ultimate archetype team here with Recoleta, then look at what I'm doing and remember how you apply Passion Drain to the enemies with Melania as efficient as possible. Let me tell you this one more time. You can see that our enemies, they stay in two different rows. Two stay in the front line, one stays in the back line. So you want to attack the one in the back line. You can see this one in the middle. You want to attack him with Melania's incantation that only attacks one target, and you want to focus the other row with the incantation from Melania that hits two targets. That way you are not 100% guaranteed to apply Passion Drain to all of your enemies, but you highly increase your odds that way. And other than that, you just play the team as you normally would. I have a guide on how to play this ultimate archetype team on my channel already, so in case you are unsure or uncertain about some stuff, you can just look that up. And that's really about it, right? I use characters that like everyone has, yeah, except for like Recoleta Geo. You know, you will have to have, or you really want to have, a character that can deal damage from the Mineral Afflators. And as long as you have that, you're gonna be fine here, no matter what. Don't forget to heal yourself a little bit, because we suffer a debuff here that at the start of every round, all of our characters, they lose 15% of their current HP. And that's really about it. Then after some while, you will just have obliterated these enemies here because of latest advantage and such. And that's gonna be about it, guys. We can now move on to battle number 2. Wait, let me show you the end here real quick. Yeah, this is the end. See, boom, they're down. Took us a while, right? Again, like I'm trying my best to not use like Dynamo characters or Bloodtithe characters, because they trivialize every content so hardcore. You might not have Nautica, you might have not have this Bloodtithe team at your disposal for whatever reason, but yeah, I mean, you have either Lucy or Nautica, that is guaranteed. Otherwise, like, what in the world are you fucking doing, right? Everyone has Ulrich, he's for free, so I will use Lucy a little bit, I will use Ulrich, right, because everyone is guaranteed to have these characters. But with that being said, let's move on to stage number 2. Okay, let's take a look at stage number 2. For me, it's the one on the bottom left, as you can see. Here, the duty officer gains the following. When the duty officer casts an ultimate, no AP is consumed. After an ally casts an ultimate, the duty officer gains 3 stacks of Ceremonious. You might already understand that this is the stage that is completely catered towards using Muldir, the new character that just released, and that is kind of a must skip, if I'm being honest. But you can also see that the enemies here are from the Plant Afflators. Guess what? Muldir is from the Beast Afflators, and therefore she will do a little bit more damage here, right? But anyways, we can hop into battle, because yeah, these enemies, they don't really do anything, right? They grant themselves rousing morale stacks, regen, all of this stuff doesn't matter. They inflict poison, it is irrelevant, right? Here, of course, since it is like kind of a trend from now on, that you get afflicted with like a little bit of poison and some annoying debuffs. All in all, that is completely irrelevant. But you can of course min-max your stuff by using characters like Fatutu, right? But yeah, let's jump into battle and talk a little bit more about it. Here we are. Now, yeah, I don't have Muldir, and I also don't have any other character from the Beast of Laters that would be able to deal good enough damage, you know. I'm waiting for the Centurion Euphoria update in version 3.0 for that. So, since yeah, my duty officer's ultimate doesn't cost any AP, I get stacks of ceremonious and all that jazz. Ulrich is a very good choice here. Of course, I used Recoleta again. I added the character 6. You know, you have to remember that in every single stage, you always want to bring a character that you are fine with getting rid at the end of the stage. I, for this example here, choose the character 6 because the enemies inflict poison. I mean, yeah, Fatutu will get rid of it, but yeah, 6 is another option where I could get rid of these debuffs. He has a good ultimate that deals a significant amount of damage, especially because whenever one of my characters uses an ultimate, he gains stacks of ceremonious, which increases his ultimate might further. The point is that you use characters here that deal damage with their ultimate, so that you can profit from the additional ceremonious stacks that you obtain right here. And that's pretty much about it. Of course, like if you want to be efficient, use characters from the Beast of Laters, right? Needless to explain, I think, because you have the Laters advantage. Characters like Anionala and Jay always come to mind. If you have Fatutu, bring Fatutu because she cleanses the poison, right? So if the poison doesn't get out of control. Yeah, use a character as your duty officer. If you have a Muldir, then Muldir is your duty officer right here in the stage. And yeah, if you don't have Muldir, use any Beast of Laters character, any character for that matter, that excels at dealing damage with their ultimates. And that's really all there is to say about it. So there we go, we beat the stage, and yeah, let's move on to stage number 3. Here in stage number 4, your enemies are from the what's that called, Spirit of Laters, and you can see at the top of your screen that the duty officer here now like produces more dynamos if under pulsing field and establish a pulsing field. To say it as short and as easy as possible, this is a stage catered towards the Dynamo team. Here, yeah, I'm cheating a little bit because I use Lucy here just so that this stage like doesn't take me like 12 turns or something, right? But yeah, even with just catering everything towards Ulrich, playing him in a little bit of a follow-up setup here with Fatutu and Flutterpage, this will be more than enough. See what his follow-up attack at the end of the turn does alone, you know, you will be fine here, even if you for some reason don't have Lucy. Maybe you invested too much into Nautica, maybe you didn't save up enough resources to pull for both, you know. If that's the case, you will be fine. Just use Ulrich and obliterate the stage by like pairing him with pretty much whatever the fuck you have, honestly. I did it with Fatutu, Flutterpage. I used Lucy because I couldn't be bothered to sit here and like waste time, basically, right? If I'm 100% being honest, then everyone should have Nautica and Lucy, or like at least one of the two. and that means you will obliterate this event anyways. All the content is trivialized, right? You know how this goes by now. The game is in a very, very like unstable state when it comes to like balancing and trivialized content. The difficulty in this game is an absolute joke. So yeah, this stage is a walk in the park because you have Ulrich, and that's really all there is to it. So let's move on to the final boss now. And here it is. Now, yeah, this boss has quite a tremendous amount of HP. So that's why we got rid of all the HP in the previous stages. Here, the mechanic is that whenever you use a normal incantation, you will be inflicted by a debuff called Dread. And once this, yeah, it increases the damage that you take and stuff, but what really matters is that once this debuff Dread would reach 10 stacks, you would lose 90% of your current HP. That is something that you never want to. So the way to prevent this is by targeting the character that has dread stacks on them with a channel, a counter, or even a heal. That's why Sotheby is a really, really good healer here. But yeah, every single healer that heals all of your characters once. So yeah, basically any healer, to be honest, is really, really good here. You have to actively use your heal incantations to target your characters with it, so they lose the stacks of dread. And you can see that I'm approaching this stage here like extremely inefficient. I tried it with Recoleta. Recoleta sucks here. She doesn't deal any damage whatsoever. Now you have a revive, so you don't die, right? So you don't have to worry too much about the damage that you take here, because your characters will revive anyways. All you have to watch out for is that you have actually enough damage, right? So again, in this stage, it's highly recommended to bring either Lucy or Nautica, which you are 100% guaranteed to have one of these characters. So bring them here actually, otherwise this will get annoying and a little bit egregious. Even if you wouldn't have Lucy and Nautica, bring the best damage dealer that you have at your disposal, like an Ulrich, right? And you will be fine, because you have 30 rounds to actually kill this boss. And even if you would like suffer from low damage and the tremendous amount of HP that this boss has, you have 30 rounds time to kill him, right? So every single character, every single main DPS in this game should be fine here and be able to kill this boss. Of course, Lucy is by far your best choice here. And Nautica, of course, Nautica has natural Afflatus advantage, but you know that Lucy has, no matter who she faces, always also the Afflatus advantage. And you have adds here, and they will die at some point, and you know what happens when Lucy is on the field and an enemy dies, right? She goes complete apeshit. So that's all there is to say about this battle. Actively use your heals to get rid of the stacks of dread. Don't use Recoleta in this battle. Like, bring Ulrich and Nautica and Lucy, and bring a healer that heals all of your, like, yeah, bring a healer basically that heals all of your characters all at once, and then you will like keep the dread debuff in check. And that's all there is to say about this battle, right? Lucy obliterates it completely. Nautica is very good. Any main DPS will get the job done because we have 30 rounds. And that's about it, guys. I hope this video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link to that in the description down below. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game. Just as I deciphered.